I was thinking about something kind of wild recently, just about how our bodies work. Like, think about when you accidentally touch a hot stove.
Oh, yeah. You just pull your hand back instantly.
Right, exactly. Your hand just recoils before you even, consciously process the heat. It is just this pure, instant physical alarm system to keep you safe.
Yeah, you don't stop and think about it. The brain's threat center just bypasses all your logic. It just screams danger, floods you with stress hormones, and physically moves you. It is just biology stepping in to save your skin.
But here's the thing that I have been really stuck on. What if, like, looking at a low bank account balance or even just sitting there imagining running out of money triggers that exact same physical alarm?
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, when people look at brain scans of folks focusing on a lack of money, the brain lights up using the very same pathways it uses for real physical pain, like a burn on your hand.
It really changes how we think about everyday stress, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Because we have this habit of thinking about money worries as just a math problem.
Oh, totally. Like a puzzle.
Right, like something you can just fix with a spreadsheet or a better budget.
Mm.
But to your actual nervous system, feeling like you don't have enough isn't just an idea. It is an active physical threat.
Yeah, your brain sees a past due bill and treats it like a physical wound.
Exactly. And the plot thickens a lot from there. Because if this alarm was just about the actual numbers in your account, the pain would vanish the second you had enough cash to cover your basic needs.
You would think so, but that is not what you see in the real world at all. You can easily find someone making 90,000 a year who is just trapped in the state of total financial panic.
Yeah, constantly stressed.
And then, someone making 40,000 a year who feels completely at peace.
Yeah,
Which brings up this quiet contradiction that I really want us to pull apart today.
I love this topic. It is so deeply human.
Why does the brain so stubbornly insist we do not have enough, even when the facts say otherwise? Whether it is money, time, or just feeling like we aren't successful enough. I really want to understand the wiring behind this feeling of lack.
And how to actually change that wiring.
Right.
Right. Because it is not a life sentence. But to really get it, we have to look past the numbers. We have to look at the invisible filters we use to view our lives.
Filters. What do you mean by that?
Well, it helps to know that your personal baseline for what enough feels like
Yeah.
that was probably hardwired into your nervous system before you even turned 10 years old.
Wait, really? Before 10?
Oh, absolutely. The psychology on this is just wild. The wiring for how secure you feel usually happens without anyone ever actually talking about money in your childhood home.
Because kids just pick up on the vibe.
Exactly. Kids are these highly tuned sponges for background stress. You absorb the heavy sighs at the dinner table,
Yeah.
or that unspoken tension when a bill arrives in the mail.
Or the way a parent just kind of clenches their jaw in the grocery store aisle when they look at a price tag.
Yes. Your growing brain catalogs all those tiny physical cues, and it sets up this permanent internal alarm for what not having enough feels like. And this happens way before you even know what a credit score is.
So we are dealing with this deeply set brain filter. I have heard people call this a scarcity mindset, but I think we need to define that because that phrase gets tossed around a lot in those self-help circles and it loses its meaning.
Yeah, it becomes kind of a buzzword.
Right. And a scarcity mindset is not about your actual bank balance. It is not about failing to think positive thoughts. And it is definitely not a character flaw.
Not at all.
It is more like this persistent brain filter where literally everything you see is viewed through a lens of missing out or not having enough.
To really grasp how strong that filter is, you have to look at how much mental space it takes up. Some cognitive psychology concepts talk about mental bandwidth.
Oh, yeah, the bandwidth idea.
Yeah. And the wild part is the physical brain response is exactly the same, whether you are short on money, short on time, or short on food. When your brain believes something vital is scarce, it just hijacked your focus.
It locks onto the threat.
Exactly. The alarm center forces your attention onto whatever you are missing. It makes it biologically impossible to stop thinking about the gap.
And having that background process running all the time has to come with a huge mental cost.
Oh, it does. The numbers on this mental load are staggering. Operating under chronic financial panic creates a massive mental fog. It is basically the equivalent of a huge drop in your effective IQ.
It is like trying to function after losing an entire night of sleep, right?
Yes, that is the perfect way to describe it. If you are trapped in that scarcity filter, you are basically trying to make big career choices, plan your life, and be present with your friends, all while functioning like you haven't slept in days.
Your bandwidth is just gone, eaten up by the background panic.
Which is exactly why trying to just budget your way out of money stress rarely works. because this filter operates below your conscious awareness.
It just quietly narrows your vision.
Right, it forces the brain to fixate only on the short-term threat, the unpaid bill, the deadline for work, and it sacrifices any long-term clarity because your brain is using all your energy just to survive the day.
But I keep thinking, surely if someone just gets a massive raise or wins the lottery, that panic has to go away, doesn't it?
You would think.
But then you see those life satisfaction studies on people who get huge windfalls of money, people who suddenly have millions. You assume their filter of lack would just shatter forever.
But it doesn't.
No. Within a year, most of those folks return to their exact old baseline of stress.
Because the brain is a prediction machine. It adapts to things really fast. It constantly updates its baseline to stay alert to new threats. So if your core wiring is built to look for what is missing,
And it just finds new things to miss.
exactly, it adjusts to your new wealth and immediately starts scanning for new gaps. So the scenery changes from a tiny apartment to a massive house, but the internal alarm system is still ringing just as loud.
I have to ask, though, about the logic of this. Like, I get that this panic is an ancient survival trick. You know, a tool from human history meant to keep us alive during a winter famine.
Right, rationing food, staying safe.
But why is it firing so hard today? How does this alarm get triggered for someone who has a full fridge, a steady job, and a warm house?
That is the big question. And the answer is really about how our modern world accidentally copies those ancient threats.
Copies them how?
Well, the brain's alarm gets thrown off balance by modern physical things first. Then it frantically looks around your environment for a reason to justify why you feel so awful.
Oh, wow. So the body feels bad first, and the brain makes up a story.
Pretty much. Think about chronic sleep loss. That physically copies the mental fog of a famine. Add in diets with tons of processed foods that cause huge sugar spikes and crashes.
Which triggers all those stress hormones.
Exactly. Your body is in a state of physical distress, your nervous system feels shaky, and your brain starts demanding an answer for the panic.
And then we reach into our pockets and pull out the ultimate threat machine.
Our phones. Social media is just the perfect target for that floating anxiety.
You are scrolling, already primed for an alarm, and you see a coworker's promotion or a friend's beach trip.
Or just some perfect spotless kitchen on Instagram. And boom, the brain, desperate to explain its own physical stress, grabs that image and fires the alert. It says, that is the threat. We are falling behind. We do not have enough.
And it happens in seconds. It is this faulty filter that just constantly finds evidence to prove itself right.
Always.
But what makes it so tricky is how it changes disguises depending on what stage of life you are in. It does not look the same at 25 as it does at 50.
No, the disguise changes because your core needs grow and shift. Like when you see this scarcity filter in someone in their 20s, the brain is still forming its identity. The focus is mostly on fitting in socially.
Right. So scarcity there looks like constant digital comparison.
Exactly. That crushing feeling of, I am not enough yet, fueled by everyone else's highlight reels online.
And then you move into your 30s, late 20s to mid 30s. That phase is like a pressure cooker.
Everything happens at once.
Yeah, peak career demands, serious relationships, buying a house, maybe kids. Your bandwidth is absolutely maxed out.
And that compounding pressure really builds. By the time folks reach their late 30s or 40s, they start facing the clock on their career. And the habits they built in their 20s feel totally set in stone.
So they start saying things like, I am just bad with money, or I am just an anxious person.
Right. They mistake a long-term brain state for a permanent personality trait, which is so sad because the brain can always change. Growth and new habits are always possible.
Which brings us to the 50 and older crowd where that fear turns into this quiet panic of, is it too late?
Yes, the existential clock.
But oddly enough, this is often the stage where the biggest mindset breakthroughs happen because the pain of staying stuck in that loop finally hurts more than the effort it takes to change it.
To catch this at any age, you really have to know what to look for because the symptoms are super sneaky.
Right, they're the obvious ones.
Yeah, the visible signs, like hoarding things or constantly checking prices on small stuff you can easily afford, or feeling this weird flash of anger when a friend shares a win.
Because your brain thinks their win means there is less success left for you.
Exactly. But the hidden signs are the ones that quietly ruin your daily peace. It is that hum of low-grade anxiety in the background.
Or saying yes to literally every work project or invitation out of this deep, strange fear that it might be the last chance you ever get.
It is not like wearing tinted glasses. It is more like having a computer with a massive, invisible update running in the background. You can't see the update, but it is the reason every app is freezing and your battery is draining fast.
Yeah, it's such a good way to put it. But how do you know the difference? Like, how do you know if you're just being careful and responsible or if that invisible update is draining your power?
The real test is your underlying feeling. True responsibility feels grounded. When you make a smart money choice, your body is calm, you have clarity.
You are thinking clearly, not panicking.
Right. Scarcity, though, feels like chronic panic. It creates a false urgency. It floods your body with stress and whispers that if you do not act right this second, a total disaster is going to happen.
So if the core problem is this background process, this panic lens, the fix isn't just grinding harder for a bigger paycheck. The fix is shutting down the faulty process.
Yes. Shifting to a growth mindset, an abundance mindset.
But we really need to rescue that word abundance from the internet, don't we?
Absolutely.
Because real abundance is not toxic positivity. It is not ignoring your bills and just trying to manifest wealth while your stress piles up.
Toxic positivity is super dangerous because it is just denial. And your brain eventually sees denial as a threat anyway. True abundance is just a felt sense of enough.
A felt sense of enough. I like that.
It is a settled internal belief in your body that you have enough resources right in this current moment to take your next good step. It is literally just the absence of panic.
And changing how you talk to yourself about this can actually change your brain state, which is amazing. Like when people intentionally shift their inner voice from I don't have enough to I have what I need to take the next step, their confidence in making choices goes way up.
Because that language shift changes your physical state. When you say, I have what I need, you are sending a biological safety signal to your body. You calm the alarm center down.
Which brings the logic brain back online.
Exactly. You get back those 13 IQ points you lost to the brain fog.
Let's look at how this plays out in real life. I was reading about this person, let's call her Sarah, living in Chicago. On paper, she was doing great. Stable income, bills paid, money left over.
But she was trapped in the scarcity filter.
Completely. Checking her banking app 4 or 5 times a day, picking up extra work shifts she didn't even need, losing sleep over it. And her breaking point was feeling this intense panic over buying a good friend a birthday gift.
Just out of nowhere.
Just out of a totally made-up fear of some random future emergency, she was burning all her mental energy guarding against a threat that only existed in her own brain wiring.
And her breakthrough is the best part.
Right,
Yeah.
because she didn't win the lottery. Her income didn't go up at all. She just changed how her brain saw her life. She started noticing what she actually had and realized she was safe.
The panic just floated away.
Yeah, same bank balance, same job. But she just had a quiet mind on a random Tuesday.
People get so scared that if they drop the panic, they will get lazy or they will stop saving money. But careful planning actually gets so much better when you feel like you have enough.
Because you aren't reacting out of fear anymore.
Right. Think about someone who is super successful on paper, but acts like they are broke. Let's say a business owner who has been doing well for 20 years, but he treats one slow week like the end of the world.
Refuses to take a day off.
Refuses to spend money on basic tools for his team, just terrified of losing it all. 2 decades of success, and his brain still thinks a famine is starting tomorrow.
And the wake-up call for folks like that is often someone close to them pointing it out, like a family member saying, why do you always say we can't afford it when they clearly can?
Yeah. And when that person finally sees their own background panic and learns to calm their nervous system before making choices, everything improves.
Decisions made from a place of calm are just vastly better than choices made in a stress spike.
Exactly. You can finally take a trip without checking your email every hour. Not because you made $1 million more, but because your internal feeling of safety fundamentally changed.
So if we know our biology is kind of working against us here, what is the actual daily habit to fix this? How do you take this awareness and use it tomorrow morning?
The whole method for breaking this loop relies on repetition, not intensity. You're slowly building new pathways in your mind.
Just gentle, small habits.
Exactly. The most basic step is what you could call a resource audit. This is what helped that woman in Chicago so much. It is just taking 2 minutes every single day to write down what you actually have access to right now.
Not what you wish you had, but real current things.
Right. And why does that work? Because it intentionally trains your brain's attention filter, the part of your mind that decides what to notice and what to ignore.
So you force it to see the good stuff.
You force your brain to notice supply.
Yeah.
You're slowly breaking its habit of only looking for the gaps and the missing pieces.
I love that. Another step is the 10-second delay. This one targets those comparison triggers we talked about. So let's say you are on your phone, you see a post that makes your stomach drop, and you feel that rush of not being good enough.
Oh, that happens to everyone.
Right. So you mandate a 10-second pause before you type a comment or close the app.
That 10-second window is huge for the brain. The alarm center works so fast, but the logic part of your brain is just a little bit slower.
It needs time to boot up.
Yeah. By pausing for 10 seconds, you give your logic time to come online, look at the situation, and basically cancel the emotional panic. You realize the photo is just a curated highlight reel, and the alarm shuts off.
Then there is this idea of future resourcefulness. I know someone who uses this perfectly. Whenever she feels the urge to make a panicked, fear-driven choice with her money, she takes 30 seconds to vividly remember a specific time when she made it through a really hard month.
That is brilliant. She is giving her brain's prediction machine actual evidence.
Exactly, not just empty positive quotes.
Right. She is using her own track record to prove to her body, hey, we know how to survive hard things. It swaps out the panic for a very grounded, quiet confidence.
And we can't forget about calming the body itself. Since the scarcity feeling often starts as a physical stress response, you have to calm the body down before you can reason with the mind.
Yes. This involves the calming nerve in your body. It acts like a brake pedal for your nervous system.
So how do you press the brake pedal?
Breathing. Very specific breathing. If you make your exhales twice as long as your inhales, you physically slow down your heart rate.
It just tells the body it is safe.
It sends a physical signal right up to the brain, confirming that there is no tiger chasing you. You are literally breathing your way out of the brain fog.
That is so simple, but so powerful. And finally, you have to change your environment. You can't just rely on sheer willpower if your daily life is constantly setting off your alarms.
Willpower always runs out.
Always. So this means keeping banking apps and social media completely out of the first hour of your morning. That is when your stress hormones are naturally highest and you are super vulnerable to feeling bad about yourself.
And it means setting a calm, weekly time to look at your money instead of frantically checking your balance randomly in the middle of a busy workday.
Yes, and rejecting that whole hustle culture thing that treats rest like something you have to earn.
Oh, treating rest like a luxury is the ultimate scarcity trap. It hardwires the belief that time is so brutally short that you don't even have the basic human right to recover.
I do have to ask the big question, though. The one I know every driven person listening is secretly worrying about right now.
Let's hear it.
What does all this do to my ambition? Like, if I adopt this felt sense of enough, if I really convince my body that I have plenty right now, won't I just lose my edge? Won't I just get lazy and stop trying to grow?
It is the most common fear when we talk about this mindset shift. But the reality is, absolutely not. Moving to a mindset of enough does not kill your ambition. It just changes your fuel source.
It changes the fuel.
Yeah. When you operate from scarcity, your motivation is running away. You are running away from the fear of being broke or being a failure. But when you operate from having enough, you are moving forward out of genuine curiosity, out of desire to grow.
So it is the difference between running up a hill because a bear is chasing you versus running up the hill because you want to see the view from the top.
Exactly.
Both reasons get you to the top of the hill, but one completely destroys your joints and your stress levels along the way.
That is the perfect picture of it. People who work from that fear-based motivation are vastly more likely to just completely burn out within a year. Fear is a powerful fuel, but it burns really dirty. It eventually ruins the engine.
But the growth motivation burns clean.
Exactly. It sustains you for the long haul.
So, to bring all of this together for you listening, escaping the scarcity trap isn't about ignoring your actual numbers. It is about fundamentally changing how your brain feels about those numbers.
It is recognizing the huge gap between actually being out of resources and just feeling like you are, because your body is famous for confusing the two.
And fixing that confusion is a daily practice. It is that little morning habit of noticing what you have. It is that 10-second pause when the comparison hits you. And it is that slow exhale to calm your body down when the panic flares up.
You are doing the quiet, slow work of proving to your biology that it is safe.
We want to leave you with one last thing to chew on today. There is this silent trap in human nature. Our personal definition of enough quietly moves upward over time, constantly, unless we intentionally pin it down.
It never stops moving.
You get a raise, your lifestyle creeps up a little bit to match it, and the finish line just silently slides another mile down the road.
If you do not actively manage that finish line, you will spend your entire life exhausted, chasing a goal that is just a mirage.
So the challenge for you today is this. Sit down and clearly define what your personal enough actually looks like. What does a peaceful, sufficient life look like for you in real, concrete terms?
Because if you never check that definition, you might realize you actually crossed your finish line years ago. You might already be living in the exact reality you always wanted, but you just forgot to tell your brain that the race is over.
You don't have to keep your hand pressed against the hot stove. The alarm doesn't have to ring forever. Take a slow breath, look at what you actually have, and enjoy the view from where you are standing.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Geeks Mindset has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same thoughtful way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life, and it helps Geeks Mindset reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the Join button right next to the Geeks Mindset logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Mindset Support Circle. Your support helps honest mindset awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Geeks Mindset moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.